Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my take on the Altergeist deck profile. This has been one of my favorite decks that I've played a couple years back when, before Multi-Faker was even released. I really enjoy this deck because of the amount of control you can have over your opponent as well as some of the cards you can run in it. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into it. Of course, starting off, we run 3 copies of Altergeist Multi-Faker. Multi-Faker says that if you activate a trap card, you can special summon this card, and then if this card is special summoned, you can special summon a Altergeist monster from your deck, which is really good. The main downside is, of course, you are locked into Altergeist monsters for the rest of the turn when it comes to special summoning. Continuing on, I do run 3 copies of Marionetter. Marionetter has the effect of whenever it is normal summoned, you can set one Altergeist spell from an Altergeist trap directly from your deck to your side of the field. It also has another effect that says you can target one Altergeist card you control and one Altergeist monster in your graveyard. Send that card on the field to the graveyard, and if you do, Monster Reborn the monster in the graveyard. Pretty good effect. I really like that card. Continuing on, of course, we do run 3 copies of Altergeist Moyuseek. Moyuseek has the effect that it can attack directly, and if it inflicts damage to your opponent, you can destroy one card on their field. Actually, it doesn't even destroy, it just sends to the graveyard, so that gets around cannot be destroyed effects. And then also has an effect that if this card leaves the field, you can search for an Altergeist monster from your deck to your hands. Continuing on, we of course run 2 copies of Altergeist Silquidus. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but anyway, this card has the quick effect that says you can return one other Altergeist card you control to the hand, and target one card your opponent controls, return it to the hand as well. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one Altergeist trap in your graveyard and add that card to your hand. Pretty good effect. You can only use each effect, of course, once per turn. But then to wrap up the Altergeist monsters, we do run 1 copy of Conquery. Conquery says that when an opponent's monster declares an attack, if you control an Altergeist card, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, negate that attack. It also has another effect that says if this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls, negate the effects of that card while it and this monster are on the field. So pretty much the main thing is you just drop it, then you can negate a monster card your opponent controls. Also, it has a really good defense stat, but pretty much the main thing with this is you can use Silquidus to bounce it back or whatever you need. Really good card. I think that these numbers are really good for the deck. I wouldn't change anything in that. Continuing on, of course, I run 3 copies of Ash Blossom Joy Spring because you can never be too safe. And then 2 copies of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Usually in a trap deck I would run 3, however, I've had so many problems drawing into multiples of Lord of the Heavenly Prison and breaking on them. So I think 2 is just, in general, a good number for Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Continuing on, we do, of course, run 3 Pot of Prosperity. If y'all want to, you can also run Pot of Duality in the deck. I don't think it's all that necessary, but I like having the 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity in this deck. That's actually it for the spell cards. Some people usually would run, Mystic Mine or whatever. I don't like running Mystic Mine in this deck, and if I do, it'll be side deck only, because I feel like Mystic Mine shouldn't even be in this format, but if y'all want to abuse it while y'all can, I would say go for it. Continuing on to the traps, of course, we run 3 copies of Personal Spoofing. Main reason why we run 3 instead of 2 with this card is because it is not considered an Altergeist card, so it is not searchable. But it has the effect that says once per turn you can shuffle one Altergeist card from your hand or face up on the field to the main deck. Then you can add one Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand. Pretty much this can get you to all your Altergeist monsters, but as I said, it is not searchable off of Marionetter, for instance. Continuing on, I do run 2 copies of Altergeist Protocol. Protocol says the activation and effects of Altergeist cards activated on your field cannot be negated. And it also says when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can send one other face-up Altergeist card you control to the graveyard to negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. You can only use each effect once per turn. You can only use that effect once per turn, but I mean, I think that 2 is a good number for that. Continuing on, I do run 1 copy of Manifestation. Manifestation is just a monster reborn for your Altergeist cards, and then, however, it also equips to that monster, so if that monster leaves the field, so does Manifestation. Manifestation also says that if this card is sent to the graveyard, destroy that card as well. It has a second effect for the graveyard that says you can banish this card from your graveyard and target 1 Altergeist trap in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So pretty much the main thing about this deck is just being able to add stuff back from the graveyard. And to wrap it up, I do run 1 copy of Altergeist Camouflage. Camouflage is not the best effect. If y'all want to cut it and run a second copy of Manifestation, I probably would. However, main thing is Camouflage says you can target 1 Altergeist monster you control, equip this card to it. If your opponent cannot target it for attacks. However, with that being said, it does not stop them from attacking directly. So if you have 1 monster on the field, you use Camouflage on it, your opponent can technically still attack. Then it also has another effect that says negate an opponent's monster effect that activates by targeting the equipped monster. Then it has another effect that says if an Altergeist card or cards you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So it just adds a little bit of protection, especially to like your boss monster, which we'll go over that in a bit. But that's it for the Altergeist traps. Continuing on to just generic traps and stuff, I do run 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is actually amazing in this deck, being able to activate it from your hand. So if you open Infinite Impermanence and Multi-Faker, on, if let's say you're going second, your opponent activates a monster effect, you just drop down Impermanence, special summon Multi-Faker, then Multi-Faker could get you into... I would usually go for Soquidus in this situation, just for the fact of you could just bounce to bounce a card, and then you have Multi-Faker for a later turn. But, so practically, opening these 2 is, against your opponent is really good. But, yeah, so that's the Infinite Impermanence. Continuing on, I do run 2 copies of Summon Limit, because this deck doesn't summon too much. Then I run 2 copies of Revelry of Warlords, because all of our monsters are spellcasters. So that's all I run for the Floodgates. I don't want to overdo it, because you can technically brick on seeing too many. But continuing on, I do run 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison to be able to summon out a monster from your opponent's graveyard and then banish that card and another card that has the same type, which can come up and it is really good. I personally run 2 Lost Wind. I really like this card because it is a kind of a slower version of Infinite Impermanence, and you can only do it for monsters that were special summoned. However, it has the effect that it permanently negates the monster's effect and halves the attack, which is really good. And it also has another effect that says that if your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck while this card is in the graveyard, you can set it but banish it when it leaves the field, so it kind of just returns and allows you to do it all over again. And then to wrap up the main deck, I do run 2 copies of Solemn Judgment just to be able to negate my opponent's cards. Moving on to the extra deck, I will let y'all know that I am missing the link 4. I will tell y'all what I would cut for it in a second, and will also show on screen what the card is so y'all can read it. But starting off, of course, we run 3 copies of Altergeist Hextia. Hextia has the effect that says that it gains attack equal to the original attack of each Altergeist monster that it points to. Then it also says, when a spell or trap card is activated, quick effect, you can contribute 1 Altergeist monster this card points to, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. It has a third effect that says that if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you're going to add one Altergeist card from your deck to your hand, which is really good. You can only use that effect once per turn now. Continuing on, we do run 2 copies of Altergeist Prime Banshee. Prime Banshee says that during the main phase quick effect, you contribute one other Altergeist monster to special summon one Altergeist monster from your deck to a zone that this card points to, and then it has another effect that says if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you target one Altergeist card in your graveyard and then add it to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. I like Prime Banshee just being able to get to some of the cards you were needing. But that's it for what I have for the Altergeist monsters in the extra deck. Again, I will go over what I would change to add the link for. But to continue on, I do run 1 copy of Link Karibo and 1 copy of Almirage. Main reason why I run these 2 is because sometimes you do need to use your Melusseek effect to search it by sending it to the searching an Altergeist monster by sending it to the graveyard. So you summon it, you just link off into one of these 2, and you're kind of set to search. I personally run 1 copy of the Dark Charmer Gloomy, mainly because there's so many decks right now running around that are darks, and we could easily make this to kind of, take one of their monsters or whatever. I think this card is just really good. Continuing on, I run 1 copy of IP Masquerena. Masquerena's main targets, of course, would be for our Nightmare Phoenix, Cerberus, or our Unicorn. Unicorn, of course, being probably one of the better ones, being able to just shuffle 1 monster into the deck. To wrap up the extra deck, I do run one Borlo Dragon. Sorry, stumbling over my own words here. I do run one. To wrap up the extra deck, I do run 1 copy of Borlo Dragon. This card is actually really good, being able to take your opponent's monster, being able to attack with your opponent's monster, as well as decreasing your opponent's monster's attack by 500. Quick effect, being able to do that pretty much every turn. Then I run 1 copy of Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. If you can use IP Masquerena to make Avramax, your opponent just can't really get over it too easily, and I don't think I need to go into too much explanation on that. And then to wrap up the extra deck, I do run 1 copy of Access Code to help to kind of finish off the duel. So that's it for the extra deck. What I would cut for the link for Altergeist monster, which, as you can see on the screen right here, I would cut the copy of Nightmare Cerberus to make room for that card. Alright guys, so that's going to be about it for the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment down below what you think of the deck. Tell me what you would change to make it better. Be sure to check out my Twitter, where I sometimes hold polls about what deck I should upload. And yeah, that's about it. See ya!